Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Bun the Bunny crochet along. In this part we are going to be completing the body, the arms, the legs, and the tail. If this is the first video you're coming across, head over to part 1 to complete the head first before watching this video. Let's get into it. All right, so once we are at this stage where we have the head and the ears all done, we're going to put this aside and we're going to start working on the body. So we're just going to grab our yarn here. And once again, to start off with the body here, we're going to start off with a magic ring. And then inside the magic ring, we're going to make 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we'll just pull that tight. And there is our first round of our body. Just grab our stitch marker here. And once we have our stitch marker in, we're going to move on to the second round. So for round 2, we're going to do an increased round, which is our 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So we are going to have a total of 16 stitches at the end of round 2. 3, 4, 5, oh my goodness, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and one more, 16. And there we are for round 2, all completed. Just going to pull that to close that center a little bit more. Put my stitch marker up and we can move on for round 3. We're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and then an increased stitch. So single crochet in the first stitch, increase in the second. And we're going to repeat this 8 times again for a stitch count of 24 at the end of round 3. And there is round 3. Moving on to round 4, we are going to do single crochet 24. So that's 1 single crochet in each stitch around for round 4. I will complete this round off camera and I'll meet you back here for round 5. All right, so there is up to round 4 completed. Moving on to round 5, we're going to do the combination single crochet 2 and an increased stitch. So 1, 2, and an increase. And we're going to repeat this another 8 times for a total of 8 times, sorry. 2, increase. And you should have 24 stitches, or sorry, you should have 32 stitches at the end of round 5. All right, and there is round 5 completed. Now moving on for rounds 6, 7, and 8. So for 3 rounds, we're going to do single crochet 32. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for rounds 6, 7, and 8. So just working our way around, single crochet in each stitch. So I will complete these 3 rounds off camera and I'll meet you back here for round 9. All right, so this is what we're looking like up till round 8 of our body. Now moving on for round 9, we're going to do the combination single crochet 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do a decrease stitch. So front loop, and then into the front loop again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And we're going to repeat that a total of 4 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a decrease. And you should have a total of 28 stitches at the end of round 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oopsies, 8. I got carried away there. I was thinking about other things. My brain carried me away. So 6 and a decrease, and then we'll do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a decrease. And that is round 9. Now for round 10, we're going to do single crochet 28. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. 3, 4, 5. All right, now moving on to round 11, we're going to do the combination single crochet 5 and a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. And we're going to do that a total of 4 times, and our stitch count should be 24 at the end of round 11. 3, 4, 5, decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, decrease, and one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease, just like that. Now for round 12, we're going to do single crochet 24. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for round 12. I will finish this round off camera and then I'll meet you back here for the next step. All right, so this is what we're looking like by the end of round 20, or by the end of round 12, and we should have 24 stitches in our round. Now it's usually around 24 stitches that I like to start to stuff. I find that it's small enough that it will keep your stuffing in, but big enough that you can still get stuffing into it. And we'll continue to stuff as we go, but we'll just start with a light stuffing here. So I'm just taking my fiberfill and I just like to sweep it out to the edges just to make sure that everything gets evenly filled, and then I just add a little bit more to the center. And like I said, we're going to be stuffing more as we go along here, so it doesn't have to be exactly how you want it, but that's what we're looking like so far. So once we're happy with that for now, we're going to move on to round 13. So for round 13, we're going to do the combination of single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a decrease. And we're going to repeat that 4 times for a stitch count of 20 at the end of round 13. 3, 4, and a decrease. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease, and last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. For round 14, we're going to do single crochet 20. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for round 14. All right, and then for round 15, we're going to do the combination single crochet 3 and a decrease. 2, 3, and decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. We'll repeat this for 4 times again, and our stitch count should be 16 at the end of round 15. Decrease. See, I was talking while I was counting here, and I think I skipped a stitch, so I'm just going to start over. 1. Oh, maybe that was right, actually. This is what happens when you count and talk at the same time. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. There we go. I think I was off a stitch there, so that is better. And then for round 16, we're going to do single crochet 16. So 1 single crochet around, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So before we move on here, we're just gonna stuff again. So I'm just gonna stuff some more in there. I just like to add a little bit at a time. Make sure that I'm not overstuffing, which is very easy to do. There we go. That's what we're looking like so far. So let's move on for round 17. We'll do the combination single crochet 2 and decrease, decrease, and again we're going to repeat this a total of 4 times for a stitch count of 12 at the end. 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, and one more time, 1, 2, decrease, and that is round 17 completed. Now our final round, round 18, we're going to just do single crochet 12. So 1 single crochet round, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Remove my stitch marker, and I'm just going to place a slip stitch here in the very next stitch. Grab my scissors here. I'm just going to cut about a 12-inch strand of yarn, and I'm just going to pull that through. And then I just need to stuff this top part here, the last 2 rows that haven't been stuffed yet. And this will be the neck area, so I want to make sure that we have enough in there. We don't want it to be too hard. So that is our body all completed. Okay, so once we have our body all completed, we're going to sew it on to the head. So just grab your head. Now, I'm not sure if on camera you can tell, but on the body here, there's going to be a side that's a little bit higher. So for me, it's this side, and then this side's a little bit lower. And then I have this on the side here. I personally like to have this spot, the side that's lower, so this side here, in the front of the head. So I like it to sit like this. I don't know why. I just find that I think that that looks the best. But basically, we're just going to attach the body directly to the last few rounds of the head. And those rounds are about rounds 13 to 15, around there. So if you wanted to count down, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So yeah, around 14 and 15 is what you're attaching to the body. Now, I recently started, I started using knitting needles to secure my head to my body where I want it to be. I saw that somewhere, someone did, and I really liked it. So I'm just going to kind of plan out where I want my head, making sure that it looks good from both sides, the front and the side. And then I'm just going to stick my needle all the way through that. And I think I may even bring it forward a tad. This is just a lot of trial and error at this point. There's no right or wrong here. It's whatever you think looks the best for your final stuffy. So that's kind of what we're looking like. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to take my darning needle and I'm going to take that yarn end that we just cut from the body here. And I'm going to start sewing that on. So I'm going to go into the head, and then I'm going to go into the body, and I'm just going to go all the way around, constantly checking to make sure that it's exactly where I want it to sit and it's not moving, because it still can move here on these, even though it's on this thing. So once I'm about halfway sewn on, I like to take my knitting needle out, just because it does provide a lot of extra support and I want to see where we're at without it. Because if I do need to add a couple extra stitches, then I will do that to make sure that my head's not going to fall off here or flop around. I want it to be decently secured. So there's that. I'm pretty happy with that. Just going to push it to the back for a second. Take a look at where I'm at. And I may just add a couple extra securing stitches here under the chin. There's really no rhyme or reason to this, for me at least. Some people have a good system for it. I tend to not have a good system for it. I put the base sewing in, and then I just add some extra stitches if I need to. That's better. So in the back here, I'm just going to make a little knot. And then I'm just going to push this down somewhere in the back. And once we sew on our arms and legs, I will use those yarn tails to tie this off. But there is our bunny with the body attached. All right, so moving on, we are going to start working on the arms. So we're going to take the same yarn here and we're going to make a magic ring again. Now, if you want to do color changes or whatever, you don't have to use the same yarn. I'm just, for ease of this pattern, I'm just using the same yarn here. I don't think that that's going to go. I always like to test my magic rings to see if they're going to pull, because this yarn can be really difficult to work with, and sometimes it just doesn't want to pull. And when I say pull, I mean like it doesn't want to close. So I always test my yarn tail to make sure that it is going to move, and then I'm ready to start. So for round 1 of the arms, we're going to do 6 single crochets inside our magic ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pull. That's the pull that I mean. And then I'm just going to take my stitch marker here, and that is round 1. Now for round 2, we're going to do an increase round, so 2 single crochets in each stitch. If I can get mine. So there's 1, and back into that same stitch a second. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And there is round 2. It's going to give this center piece another tug. And then we can move on for round 3. We're going to do the combination single crochet 1, single crochet 1, and increase. And we'll just repeat that a total of 6 times for a stitch count of 18 at the end of round 3. Increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and once more single crochet, increase. Next, for round 4, we're going to do single crochet 18. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. All right, moving on to round 5, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and a decrease. Single crochet and our invisible decrease. And we're going to do that a total of 6 times for a stitch count of 12 at the end of round 5. All right. Now moving on to round 6, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and a decrease. Same as we did for the last round, but this time we're only repeating it a total of 4 times. And our final stitch count is going to be 8. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, and one more single crochet and decrease. So at this point, before we move on, we're just going to add a little bit of stuffing before we get too far up and we can't get anything in. So I'm just stuffing in the yarn tail there. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of fiber fill and lightly stuff. It doesn't need to be a crazy stuffing just to keep the shape, but it doesn't need a lot. Now moving on for round 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, so 7 rounds, we're going to do single crochet 8. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 7 rounds. So just like this, 1, 2, 3. So just complete round 7 through 13, and I will meet you back here at the end of round 13. All right, so this is what we're looking like up to round 13. So that is our last round. I'm just going to pull my stitch marker. Now I did put some stuffing in the last few rounds, but I didn't put any in the last 2 rounds here. I just personally like to leave this area unstuffed so that when we attach it to our body, you're not having really bold shoulders, basically. So I keep that area a little bit unstuffed. And I'm just going to place a slip stitch here, and I'm going to cut about a 12-inch strand of yarn for when we're going to sew it on. So there is the arm completed. Now you're going to need to make 2 of these, so just head back to where we started the arm and remake 1 more, and then we will meet back here to sew it onto the body. All right, so I have made 2 arms here, and now we're going to sew them on. So we'll just grab our bunny so far where we're at with just the head and the body, and we're going to need a darning needle as well as some fabric pins. Now, I know with the ears sometimes it can be hard to get an idea of this, but I just like to flip them to the side there for now, and I'm just going to grab one of my arms, and we're basically going to attach our arms with one edge of our strand where we're going to sew it on. We want that to be on one side, and we want to attach the arm about either 1 row or 2 rounds down from the side of where we attached the head to the body. So I'm just going to roughly place it here. And this is round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Sometimes I find a lot of this is just trial and error with how you want it to look. It doesn't have to be exactly where I've put mine. So that's kind of what it will look like when it's attached. So I think that that looks good. So I'm just going to take my darning needle here, and I'm going to just start sewing on the arm. And I like to just sew on. If you look at the arm here, there's this top layer and then the bottom layer. I just like to sew on the top layer right now, and then I sew on the bottom after. So I'm just going to do that. Take my pins out as I go here. Just like that. And then I'm just going to quickly take a look before I continue. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right underneath here and sew on the bottom piece. That bottom round that we were talking about just now. Just like this. Now, if you like your arms to be flopping around and free, then just leave it like this. For some reason, I just don't like the look of that. I don't know why, but I like to tie my arms down slightly so that they're more attached to the body. So how you do that is we just insert, and we're going to push our darning needle down to the spot where we think we want it to be held down. So right around here for myself. So that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds down. And then I'm just going to pull my arm down as well, and I'm going to meet up with where in the arm it meets. So about 4 to 5 rounds should be. And then we're going to go back into the body, and I'm just going to push this all the way to the back where we left that strand from sewing on the body, so that we can tie these off together. So there is one of our arms attached. So I'm just going to tie a little knot here in the back to secure that. And this is securing the arm as well as the sewing on of the head. And I'm just going to leave that for when I sew the other arm on, so I have something to tie that off to. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew on the other arm, and then I'll meet you back here when that's all done. All right, so this is what we're looking like with our arms all attached here. And once we have that all done, we are going to just put that aside, and we're going to take our yarn again. We're going to start working on the legs. All right, so to start off for our legs, we are going to make a magic ring. And inside the magic ring, we're going to place 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and pull that tight. And there is round 1. I'll just grab my stitch marker here, and we can move on to round 2 of the legs. I'll just bring you in a little bit here. So for round 2, we're going to do an increase round. So increase times 8, so a total of 16 stitches at the end of round 2. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Moving on to round 3, we're going to do the combination single crochet and an increase. We'll repeat that 8 times, single crochet and increase, and your stitch count should be 24 at the end of round 3. Right, and that is up to round 3. So moving on, for round 4, we're going to do single crochet 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will complete this round off camera, and I'll meet you back here for round 5. All right, so there is round 4. So for round 5, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1, and we're going to decrease down. So 1 decrease stitch, single crochet, and a decrease. And we're going to repeat this a total of 8 times. And so our stitch count should be 16 again at the end of this round. All right, moving on to round 6. We're going to do we're just going to do single crochet 16. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Moving on to round 7, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and decrease. And we're going to do that a total of 5 times. So single crochet, decrease, that's 2, single crochet, decrease is 3, single crochet, decrease is 4. We'll do 1 more of those. And then you should be left with 1 single crochet. So we'll just place 1 more single crochet and your stitch count should be 11 at the end of this round of 7. So I'm just going to stuff in my yarn tail. And I'm also just going to add some fiber fill now. This one's a little bit easier because the round's 11 instead of 8 for the arm, so it's easier to stuff if you forget, but just add a little bit of stuffing. And then moving on, for rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, we are going to do single crochet 11. So that's 6 rounds. We're going to do single crochet 11. So I will complete these rounds off camera and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 13. All right, so this is what we're looking like here. I haven't stuffed the top end here, so I'm just going to do that now. Once we've reached here round 13. Again, I don't want to overstuff the top here. I like to leave the top few rows unstuffed. So that is where we are right now. We just have 1 more round to go, and I lost my last stitch here, so I just got to finish that off. All right, so for round 14, we're going to do decrease stitch times 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll end with 1 single crochet. Pull our stitch marker out, place a slip stitch here, and I'm just going to cut 12-inch strand of yarn. And there is our leg all done. So we just want to make 1 more of these, so just go back and make 1 more, and then we will meet back here to attach them to the body. All right, so I've made 2 legs here, and we are going to sew them on, so let's just grab our body. Now we are going to attach our legs to round 7 of the body, from counting from the bottom up. And we are going to be attaching them directly in line with where we placed our arm. So again, we're going to need some fabric pins, and we're going to need our darning needle here. I'm just going to put my darning needle on my yarn end right now so it's all ready to go. And I'm just going to start on this side. So I'm just going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I know my arm is in your way, but I just need to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 where I'm going to be putting these legs. So I've just placed some fabric pins here. And I'm just going to double count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And all I'm going to do here is just place the leg right where I pinned, making sure it's in line with my arm. And I'm just going to sew that on. Again, I'm just going to sew. Actually, for this guy, I like to just sew both layers because I don't worry as much about the shoulder being so. That's why I do that on the top. But for the leg, it doesn't matter as much. So we'll just sew this guy on. Just like that. Now what I like to do again, I don't like my leg to be flopping around here. So I want to attach it down. And I want to attach it down 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 rounds. So I'm just going to stick my needle in and push it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we should be in round 1, 2, between round 2 and 3. And then I'm just going to insert that into the leg and back into the body. And I'm just going to push that here to the center. I'm just going to pull tight. Now if you have too much stuffing in that area, you can just, I just use my darning needle here and I just pull it down because I just don't like it when it's bulky here. I like it to be kind of smoother into the leg. So that is one leg attached. I'm just going to leave this end here to attach to my other end for the other foot or the other leg. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the other leg on, and then we will meet back here. All right, so this is our legs all attached. This is what we're looking like so far. I know it's kind of hard to tell sideways, but this is what we're looking like. Now the very last thing that we have to do is we have to add a little tail to the back. So again, I apologize. I never told you at the beginning, but we just need some fluffy yarn, ideally. This part of the pattern won't really work great with any other type of yarn, so if you can get your hands on some, this is what I'm going to use. And this part is very simple. I'm just going to be starting off with a magic ring again. Now I find this yarn pretty hard to work with in regards to seeing your stitches and all that. So, and pulling it through your magic ring. So we're going to do a total of 8 single crochets within the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, and every few stitches I'm just going to pull my magic ring to make sure it's going to close for me. So 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Close that fully. And then a lot of the time this yarn is just your feeling. I'm just going to place a slip stitch here in what I'm pretty sure is the first stitch I made. And that's it for the tail. I'm just going to cut my yarn, pull that through, And I'm just going to find the best side, the fluffiest side, which I think is this one, which also happens to have my yarn end on. So I'm just going to pull that through to the other side. And then I'm going to grab my bunny, and the tail is just going to go right here on rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, around that area. And you can just place a couple pins, just don't lose them in the fluffy yarn. It's kind of where I want that to be. And then I'm just going to stick this on my darning needle here, if I can get it. And I'm just going to simply sew this on. It doesn't even really need to be stuffed, but you are welcome to stuff it if you'd like. I may even just stuff it with this yarn tail here that I have sitting around. Stuff that. And just continue around. This yarn I find looks beautiful, but is just so difficult to work with because you just really, a lot of it is just a guessing game. I have no idea what I'm sewing into, but as long as it's secured, I don't really much care. I just don't want to sew into that yarn tail on the inside because it's not going to secure that way. This, oopsies, I lost my, just do one more there and see. Now I've grabbed that yarn tail, so that's okay. I'm just going to tie a little knot with those. The one good thing about this yarn is it is very forgiving, so you really can't tell. And I'm just going to put that on my darning needle again. Just need to cut the edge off here. And I'm just going to push that through down to the bottom. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. The same hole here. Go. Just gonna pull that out, and I'm just gonna fluff my tail a little bit, pull those strands out, and then I will just tie another knot here just for extra security. And then I'm going to weave that in. And there is our finished little fluffy cotton tail. I really hope you guys love this pattern. It is one of my favorites. I'm super obsessed with it. Please let us know in the comments down below what you thought of it. You can always add clothes to this if you think that that's what you want to do, different colors. There's just so many possibilities with this one. I hope you guys have a lovely day, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!